Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Six Path Weeb, and today we're diving into a fascinating what-if scenario. What if Naruto's Sharingan was white? Before we jump in, a quick disclaimer, the content on this channel is purely for entertainment and discussion purposes. I do not own any of the anime footage used in my videos, all rights and credits go to their respective creators and copyright holders. Alright, let's get started. A new morning in Konoha. 9-year-old Naruto Uzumaki walked down the wide stone path leading to the Ninja Academy as sunlight filtered gently through the trees. A soft breeze carried the scent of grass and warm cinnamon rolls from a nearby bakery. Naruto smiled a little as his sandals tapped against the ground. Mornings like this always made him feel hopeful. As he passed through the village, people noticed him, just as they always did. Some whispered. Others looked away. A few stared with uneasy expressions. Naruto's smile faded, and he hugged his backpack closer to his chest. "I just want to get to class on time," he muttered to himself. The whispers grew louder, and Naruto's steps slowed. He felt nervous, but instead of running, he took a deep breath, remembering what his teacher once said about staying calm. Just then, a group of older villagers blocked the path ahead. They did not touch him, but their harsh words made his heart sink. "You should not be wandering alone," one of them said sternly. Naruto looked down, his voice shaking but steady. "I did not do anything wrong. I am just going to school." Before things could grow worse, several ninja appeared, landing lightly on the street. Their presence brought silence. The villagers stepped back, suddenly uncertain. "That is enough," one of the ninja said firmly. "This is a child of the village. He deserves safety and respect." The villagers slowly dispersed, and Naruto stood quietly, relieved but shaken. The ninja knelt beside him. "Are you all right?" the ninja asked kindly. Naruto nodded. "I think so. Thank you." The ninja smiled and watched as Naruto continued on his way. Not long after, exhaustion caught up to him, and his vision blurred. When he opened his eyes again, he was no longer on the village street. A place of quiet. Naruto found himself lying on soft grass beneath a clear blue sky. Nearby was a calm pond, surrounded by tall trees and colorful flowers. In the distance stood a large, peaceful mansion with wide windows and a welcoming look. "Where am I?" Naruto asked softly. "You are safe," a deep voice replied, gentle but powerful. Naruto looked around. "Who said that?" "Come closer," the voice said. "It will be easier to talk." In a blink, Naruto felt himself pulled inward, like stepping into a dream. Inside the mind. Naruto stood before a large gate, strong but not frightening. The space around him felt warm and calm. "This is your mind," the voice explained. "And I am the nine-tailed fox." Naruto swallowed. "Does that mean I am bad?" "No," the fox said immediately. "You are not a monster. You are a kind child who carries a great responsibility. None of this was your choice." Naruto's eyes filled with tears, but this time, they were not from fear. "Then why do you sound nice?" The fox chuckled softly. "Because strength does not come from cruelty. It comes from understanding. And I would like to help you grow." "Grow how?" Naruto asked. "By training your mind, your heart, and your skills. Not for power, but so you can protect yourself and others." Naruto thought for a moment, then nodded. "I would like that." "Good," the fox said. "And perhaps seeing me differently will help." Light shimmered, and the fox's shape changed into that of a tall man, fully clothed in a long dark coat, sturdy boots, and simple travel clothes. Nothing about him was frightening now, only calm and wise. "Is this better?" the fox asked. Naruto stared, wide-eyed, then smiled. "Yeah. I think I can talk to you like this." The fox smiled back. "Then this is where your journey truly begins." The quiet space inside Naruto's mind felt larger than usual, like a wide field beneath an endless sky. Before him stood the great fox, calm but watchful. "Before you say anything," the fox said, raising one paw, "let me finish my thought." Naruto nodded, curiosity shining in his eyes. "If you weaken the seal just enough," the fox continued, "I can guide you. I will still remain contained, but I will be able to help you grow stronger. If you prove yourself through effort and discipline, I will offer you something special." Naruto leaned forward. "A gift? What kind of gift?" The fox gave a quiet, rumbling chuckle. "First, proper training. Second, a summoning agreement with fox spirits. And third, only after much growth, knowledge of a powerful eye technique." Naruto blinked. But I thought only certain clans could use special eye techniques. Many abilities have long histories, the fox replied. Some were passed down, others taught. What matters is responsibility, not blood. Naruto thought carefully. So this helps you too, right? Yes, the fox answered honestly. If my host grows stronger, it reflects on me as well. Naruto smiled. Then let's do it. The fox nodded. Good. Watch closely. Naruto followed the instructions exactly, focusing with care. When he finished, the space around him faded, and he felt himself return to the real world. Dash. The Hidden Leaf Village. Far away, the third Hokage sat quietly, concern weighing on his face as he searched for Naruto's familiar presence. No sign yet, reported a scout respectfully. The Hokage sighed. Continue searching. Naruto is important to this village, and to me. When the room was empty again, the old man looked out the window. Please be safe, he murmured. Dash. High in the mountains. Naruto stood on a wide stone path surrounded by clouds and tall peaks. Whoa! Where are we? He asked. The fox appeared beside him. This is a safe place, hidden by barriers. Here, you can train without distraction. Naruto grinned. So what do we start with? Focus, the fox said gently. Your first lesson is the shadow clone technique. Naruto tilted his head. Why that one? Because it teaches teamwork, even with yourself, the fox explained. Each clone learns, and when they disappear, their experience returns to you. With patience, you can grow faster than you imagine. Naruto's eyes widened. That's amazing. The fox nodded. But only if you work hard and stay disciplined. I will, Naruto said seriously. Dash. A message sent. Later, Naruto paused. I should let the Hokage know I'm okay. That is wise, the fox agreed. Send a message, but keep this place secret. A small messenger fox dashed off into the distance, carrying reassurance instead of worry. Naruto looked around, feeling something new, confidence. This is the start of something big, he said. The fox smiled quietly. Yes. And this time, you will learn every step forward. Konoha. As Sarutobi sat behind his desk, he heard a peculiar rustling sound from behind. When he turned, he saw a small orange fox perched on the window sill. A fox. It must be a summon. But who has the fox contract? He opened the window and carefully let the little fox into the room. Observing it more closely, he noticed it was a deeper red than the usual foxes and slightly larger than the ones roaming around Konoha, clearly a summon. So, who summoned you here? I don't know anyone with a fox contract. The fox tilted its head and spoke in a soft, clever voice. You're as sharp as Naruto said you would be. Naruto summoned you? Sarutobi asked, raising an eyebrow. Yes, he sent me with a message. He said the Kyuubi no Kitsune is helping him train because the villagers have been slow to recognize his potential. He'll return to the academy soon, and when he does, his skills will be at a high Chunin, or maybe low Jounin, level. Sarutobi's face grew serious. Tell the Kyuubi that if he causes Naruto any harm, I will personally make sure he regrets it. With a quiet nod, the fox vanished, returning to its summoner. Naruto. You better come back safe, or I'll have words with that fox myself, Sarutobi thought. Dash. Kyuubi's house. When the fox returned to the Kyuubi and relayed Sarutobi's message, the great fox focused entirely on Naruto's training. 6 months passed. Naruto's skills had grown rapidly, far faster than anyone expected. He was approaching Jounin level abilities well ahead of schedule. He shouldn't be this strong yet, the Kyuubi murmured. Hey, Naruto, come here for a moment. Sure, Kyuubi, but I was in the middle of training. Did you do extra training without my permission? Yes. I just wanted to get stronger, Naruto admitted sheepishly. It seems we'll be returning sooner than planned, then, the Kyuubi said with a sly smile. And tell me, how many clones did you use during training? Naruto froze for a moment. 6? 600. The Kyuubi exclaimed, though in a more exasperated than angry tone. Well, seeing as how you've been so enthusiastic, it's time to leave now. But we haven't been out here a full year yet. Naruto protested. No, but your dedication and cleverness mean you're ready. Plus, you're a year older now, your birthday was last week. Naruto blinked, realizing the truth. I really have to go back. I wonder what's changed at the academy. Hopefully some things. But I guess I'll find out soon enough. Get ready for the trip, the Kyuubi said, beginning the hand seals for the teleportation jutsu. Demonic teleportation jutsu. Returning to Konoha. After a few hours walking through the forest, Naruto finally saw the gates of Konoha in the distance. Stupid fox, why couldn't you put us inside the walls? Naruto grumbled. Shh, I did my best. This was as close as I could get without drawing attention, the Kyuubi replied. As they approached the gate, 2 Chunin guards blocked the path. Halt! State your business, one said. Naruto recognized them instantly, Kamazuki and Izumo, the village pranksters. Hey, guys. You should recognize the prank king of Konoha, Naruto teased. Wow, Naruto. It's been a while, and you look different. Indeed, Naruto's usual orange jumpsuit had been replaced. Now he wore a dark blue mesh shirt with a crimson-red fox design wrapping around his arm and waist, matching khaki pants, and black ninja sandals. Time for a change, Naruto said with a grin. Where have you been? We haven't seen you in almost a year. I'll tell you later. Right now, I need to see the Hokage, get back into the academy, and set up my apartment. They let him pass, smiling. Naruto took a deep breath as he entered the village, feeling both nervous and excited. A new journey awaited him, full of challenges, friends, and adventures, and he was ready to face it all. As Naruto walked through the village toward the Hokage's tower, he slowed his steps to take everything in. New shops stood beside familiar buildings, and the village felt both different and comforting at the same time. He smiled to himself, remembering how much had changed over the years. Lost in thought, he suddenly realized where his feet had carried him. He stood in front of a small ramen stand, one he remembered fondly. Well, Naruto said with a soft laugh, it's been a long time. I guess one bowl won't hurt. The owner looked up and blinked in surprise before breaking into a wide grin. Naruto. You finally came back. It's good to see you. Naruto sat down happily, enjoying the warm smell of the broth. As he ate, the two chatted about the village, old memories, and how much Naruto had grown. Before long, 2 shinobi approached calmly. Naruto, one said politely, the Hokage would like to see you. Naruto nodded. Of course. I'll head there now. The shinobi stepped aside, and Naruto waved goodbye to the ramen owner before heading toward the tower. When he arrived, the Hokage sat behind his desk, surrounded by neatly stacked papers. Welcome back, Naruto, the Hokage said warmly. It's been too long. It really has, Naruto replied with a smile. I've learned a lot since I left. As they spoke, another shinobi leaned against the wall nearby, watching with a playful smirk. She folded her arms and shook her head lightly. You've gotten taller, she said. But you still look like the same determined kid. Naruto grinned. I'll take that as a compliment. The Hokage chuckled. I wanted to speak with you about your journey. What made you leave, and what helped you grow so much? Naruto grew thoughtful. Flashback. Years ago, Naruto had felt small and alone. He didn't always understand why others avoided him, but he knew it hurt. Instead of giving up, he chose to train, learn, and listen to the quiet inner voice that encouraged him to keep going. That voice didn't push him toward anger or revenge. It reminded him to stay strong, patient, and kind. He trained hard, rested when needed, and slowly built confidence. Over time, he learned that strength wasn't just about skill, it was about understanding, self-control, and believing in yourself. Back in the Hokage's office, Naruto finished his story. I left to find my own path, he said. I wanted to become someone who could protect others without losing who I am. The Hokage nodded with pride. That was a wise choice. Naruto smiled, standing a little taller than before, not just in height, but in spirit. He had grown, not because of power alone, but because he learned the value of patience, learning, and caring for others. And this time, he knew he truly belonged. Time skip. Well, kid, we've been out here for 6 months, and it's time to head back, Naruto said, stretching his arms. To think he had come this far in only 6 months. He had mastered 3 sword styles and even created his own. His taijutsu and ninjutsu were strong enough for high chunin level, almost jounin. Genjutsu, however, was still his weak point. End flashback. The Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, stared at Naruto silently for a few moments before speaking. You still haven't told me anything. And where are your swords? First, I don't want to give away my training secrets, Naruto replied confidently, and they're right here inside this scroll. With a flick of his fingers, Naruto unsealed the scroll. Inside rested 3 of the most beautiful swords Sarutobi had ever seen. The first was a katana in a solid black sheath, wrapped with the design of a 9-tailed fox. Its handle was black, and the guard depicted a fox climbing the blade, tails fanning upward. When Naruto drew it, the blade gleamed a deep crimson, black flames surrounding the fox engraving. Next were dual kadachi in a sleek blue sheath. One blade shifted from blood red to black with a red fox guard, the other shifted from black to red with a black fox guard. Naruto-kun. These swords are incredible, the Hokage said, astonished. Now, how well can you use them? And what are your skills overall? Naruto paused. I don't really know. I've never been officially tested. Hey, Kit, summon me. I can tell the old man your skill level, he said. Alright, Naruto said, forming the hand seals. Smoke swirled, and when it cleared, a figure 6 feet tall appeared, a man with long black hair streaked with red, eyes crimson with black slits. I'm guessing you are the QB, Sarutobi said, eyes widening. After a respectful nod, the QB confirmed. So, can you tell me Naruto's skill level? The QB bowed slightly. Yes, Hokage-sama. His taijutsu and ninjutsu are around low chunin level, but his kenjutsu is Onbu level. The Hokage nearly dropped his pipe. A 10-year-old with Onbu level sword skills? Could we see a demonstration? Of course. We'll need someone to spar with him first. Overall, his combined skills would make him comparable to a special jounin when using nin, tai, and ken together. And his genjutsu? Sarutobi asked. Genjutsu. He barely notices it. Anything over C rank, he wouldn't even realize it was happening, the QB said. Hey! Naruto protested, cheeks pink. Shall we head to the roof and start the demonstration? The Hokage asked. Sure. But who will spar with him? A figure appeared, an Onbu with purple hair, wearing a sleek cat-masked armor. This is Yuagao. She's our best kenjutsu specialist. She will spar with Naruto to gauge his abilities, the Hokage explained. Dash. The rooftop was filled with Onbu watching silently. Naruto looked around and noticed them, then turned to the QB. I guess they're here to watch, huh? Yes, the QB said. Yuagao is our best. They wanted to see the one who could challenge her. Naruto smiled and pulled out a small orange book. As he started reading, Sarutobi walked over. You like that series? Please, please. Can I borrow the rest of it? The QB exclaimed, bouncing in excitement. Seeing such a powerful being so eager to read was oddly funny. Sure, I'll give you the rest after this, Sarutobi said with a smile. Dash. The Onbu present stepped back. Are you ready? Naruto and Yuagao nodded. Begin. Naruto shot forward, moving faster than anyone expected. Yuagao swung her sword, but it met only air. He jumped and brought his blade down in a powerful slash, narrowly missing her. She stepped back, noticing a deep mark in the concrete. That style. I've never seen it before, Yuagao said, impressed. Thank you. Your skill is impressive too, Naruto replied. The two exchanged moves, each showing incredible speed and precision. They were evenly matched, and the watching Onbu whispered in awe. Finally, they paused, catching their breath, covered in small cuts from their intense duel. I must say, Yuagao-san, you are truly skilled, Naruto said, nodding. Now, I will show you a style I created, a combination of Hai Rizuki and Hiten meets Harugi. I call it Togakuryu Ninpo. Yuagao's respect for the young boy grew. She braced herself as Naruto assumed a new stance, holding his kadachi in reverse grips. The thought of this style makes me nervous, she admitted, tension in her voice. Even the Onbu gasped, seeing her rare hesitation. Both charged, swords clashing in a spray of sparks. Each strike was met with a parry. Neither gave an inch. Finally, the match ended in a double knockout. Unbelievable. He actually held his own against Yuagao, whispered an Onbu. Both combatants were exhausted and had to be escorted to the hospital to recover. At the hospital, a nurse sneered at Naruto, only to be stopped when she realized the Hokage and several Onbu were glaring at her with immense authority. This young boy will be treated with respect, the Hokage said firmly. The nurse paled, realizing she was in no position to argue. Naruto and Yuigao were settled into a room to rest, both exhausted but proud of their efforts. After several days of rest at the hospital due to exhaustion, the young, blonde hero Naruto Uzumaki finally returned to the village. The sunlight felt warm on his face as he walked along familiar streets. Some villagers still looked at him with uneasy expressions, but Naruto kept moving forward, reminding himself that one day he would earn their respect. Today was important. It was the day of the Academy's graduation exam. After this, he would finally take his first real steps toward becoming a ninja. Naruto entered the classroom and noticed his classmates gathered near the back. Shikamaru leaned lazily against his desk, Choji quietly enjoyed a snack, Kiba laughed loudly with excitement, and several others chatted as they waited. "Is that Naruto?" Choji asked, pausing mid-bite. Shikamaru opened one eye. "Yeah. Same bright hair. Same determined look." He yawned and settled back into his seat. A sudden burst of smoke filled the room, and two Chunin instructors appeared at the front. The students quickly took their places, buzzing with anticipation. "Today is your graduation exam," one instructor announced. "Each of you must pass all 3 parts to earn your headband." The tests began, and students were called forward one by one. Naruto waited patiently, breathing slowly and staying focused. At one point, he noticed something felt strange, like the room itself had grown too quiet. Trusting his instincts, he concentrated and broke free from the illusion around him. When his turn finally came, Naruto stayed calm. He listened carefully, followed instructions, and gave his best effort. Though one instructor seemed doubtful, another recognized Naruto's awareness and determination. Outside, the second test began. Students practiced their aim, throwing safely at wooden targets. When Naruto stepped up, he focused, took a deep breath, and threw with confidence. His throws landed cleanly, surprising several classmates. The final test involved controlled sparring meant to show balance, focus, and discipline, not harm. Naruto faced an instructor and demonstrated a unique stance he had practiced quietly for years. His movements were careful and precise, showing growth rather than aggression. When the match ended, the instructors exchanged looks. Naruto stood tall, breathing steadily. He had stayed true to himself and shown what he was capable of. No matter the outcome, Naruto knew one thing for sure: this was only the beginning of his journey, and he was ready to keep moving forward with courage, kindness, and hope. Just like the first time Naruto spun around and weaved through the air, he dodged and danced toward Mizuki, but this time, he wasn't going to hurt him. Instead, he used his movements to confuse and trap Mizuki, making it impossible for him to move properly. "Just stay calm, Mizuki-san," Naruto said, landing softly in front of him. "You can't keep attacking like this when you're so off balance. Let's finish this without anyone getting hurt." Mizuki frowned but still stood up, refusing to back down. He looked around and saw the other teachers and Anbu stepping closer, ready to intervene. "Don't come any closer," Mizuki shouted, waving his arms dramatically. "If you interfere, something bad could happen." Naruto shook his head and smiled confidently. "You don't need to scare anyone. I've got this." He took a deep breath and prepared to use his third dance of the leaf, a special taijutsu technique he had been practicing. But just as he was about to move, a shadow clone appeared behind Mizuki. "Gotcha!" The clone shouted cheerfully, tackling Mizuki gently to the ground. Mizuki stumbled, completely surprised. Naruto's third technique wasn't meant to hurt anyone, it used precise movements to immobilize an opponent safely. Mizuki tried to rise but couldn't manage it, leaving him staring at the sky, defeated but unharmed. "Anbu, please escort him out carefully," said Iruka, relieved. As Mizuki was taken away, the students gave Naruto impressed looks. Many had seen him train hard the day before, but this time, he showed how clever and skilled he had become. "Now that the problem is handled, let's finish the test," Iruka said. The students cheered quietly, eager to continue. One student raised a hand. "Iruka-sensei, I thought the taijutsu part was the last one. What's next?" Iruka smiled. "No, the Sharingan exam has 3 parts. The first was genjutsu, the second taijutsu, and the final part is ninjutsu." Just then, a new teacher arrived. "Hello, everyone. I'm Kenshin Yakamura, filling in for Mizuki," he said. He was short but had a confident stance, a cross-shaped scar on his cheek, and a katana strapped to his side. Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Sensei, isn't a katana a little slow for ninja?" Kenshin chuckled. "Normally, yes. But my style uses speed and strategy in ways that work even for someone like me, a teacher who has traveled many lands before settling here in Konoha. Naruto's eyes widened. That style. The Hiten Mitsurugi. I know it. I trained in it too, along with a few others. Kenshin blinked, surprised. You know it? That's impressive for someone your age. I'm still learning, Naruto said, smiling modestly. I'm far from being a true master. Well, Kenshin said, nodding, perhaps one day we can spar and test our skills properly. The students watched the exchange in amazement, and Iruka realized it was the perfect time to wrap up the test. A little later, he turned to Kenshin. That's everyone done. Now we wait to see how they grow. Kenshin nodded. We have to trust the next generation. But one student caught my attention. Let me guess, Iruka said with a knowing smile, Naruto Uzumaki? Yes, Kenshin said. He has incredible potential. At just 13, he's already mastered skills that take years to learn. We should keep an eye on him. Iruka watched Naruto playing in the distance, a thoughtful look on his face. Just how strong will you become, Naruto? He wondered quietly. Naruto looked around, spotting the familiar golden glow of the Kyuubi's chakra flickering faintly beneath the trees. All right, kid. I'm ready. What is it this time? A small, fox-shaped spark of light appeared, hovering in front of him. This isn't just any tool, Naruto. It's something that will help you understand your chakra better, the Kyuubi explained, its voice soft but serious. You've been training hard, but controlling your energy is just as important as increasing your strength. Naruto's eyes widened. Really? You mean I get to learn more about controlling you instead of just exploding everywhere? He chuckled nervously, thinking about all the times he'd accidentally blown apart a training dummy, or half a tree. The fox spark twirled in the air, forming a glowing scroll. This scroll will teach you exercises to focus your chakra. They're simple, but they need patience and attention. I'll guide you step by step. Naruto grabbed the scroll carefully, as if it were a rare treasure. Step by step. Got it. No rushing like usual. He unrolled it and peeked at the first instructions. Deep breathing, and then focus chakra into the tips of your fingers. Okay, I can do that. He sat down cross-legged on the soft grass and began the first exercise. He closed his eyes, imagining the chakra flowing through him like a warm, golden river. The fox spark hovered near, occasionally nodding or giving him tips. Keep your mind clear, Naruto. Don't let your thoughts wander. Concentrate. Minutes passed. Naruto's usual fidgeting slowed as he felt the flow of energy connect from his core to his hands. When he opened his eyes, a small, glowing orb of golden chakra hovered just above his palm. Whoa! I actually did it, he whispered, astonished. Good, Naruto, the Kyuubi said proudly. Control comes from focus, not force. Remember this lesson. Naruto grinned. Thanks, kid. I'll keep practicing. His heart felt light and determined. Today wasn't just about getting stronger, it was about learning patience and control, which he knew would help him with his team, his missions, and maybe even becoming Hokage one day. Just then, a rustle in the trees made him glance up. Huh? Who's there? A small group of birds flew overhead, scattering in the sunlight. Naruto laughed. Guess it's just me and the kit today. Perfect. He looked down at the glowing orb in his hand again. Tomorrow, I'm going to show Sakura and Sasuke something cool too. They'll see that teamwork isn't just about fighting, it's about learning and growing together. And with that, Naruto dove into his training with a renewed sense of purpose, feeling the warmth of the fox's guidance and the excitement of the adventures still waiting for him. Even though he was curious about what the fox might give him, Naruto decided to listen carefully and ask questions once he had summoned the mighty spirit outside. Naruto formed the required hand signs and drew a tiny drop of blood before pressing his hand to the ground. Summoning jutsu. A swirl of red smoke appeared, and before him stood a tall figure, about 6'2", with long black hair streaked with red. His eyes glowed a brilliant crimson with a black slit in the center, and his sharp teeth gave him a slightly mischievous look. But this time, he wore elegant samurai armor, polished and shining, with a katana sheathed at his side. The sheath was deep red, decorated with intricate patterns of a special eye symbol. On one side, the design was familiar, but the other side was strange, unique, almost like a puzzle waiting to be solved. All right, Naruto said, trying to steady his curiosity, you're here now. So what is it that you want to give me? And what's with that strange design on the sheath? The fox spirit glanced at the symbol, a hint of embarrassment in his expression. When he looked back at Naruto, his eyes were filled with an unexpected sadness. He didn't quite understand it himself. Maybe the little guy is starting to grow on me. But this is still going to be interesting. Naruto, the fox said finally, this sword holds the key to the Uchiha's secret eyes. Naruto tilted his head. How does a sword give me those eyes? The fox let out a soft chuckle. Come a little closer, and I'll show you. Naruto stepped forward, but the fox raised a hand. Now, this might feel strange, so get ready, okay? Before Naruto could ask more questions, the fox unsheathed the sword with a flash. The blade gleamed black with a faint red shimmer. For a moment, Naruto's vision blurred, and then it adjusted, revealing the world with a sharp, almost magical clarity. Whoa! What just happened? Naruto exclaimed, blinking rapidly. Are my eyes different? The fox laughed softly. Not different, just awakened. The process isn't instant, it might feel a little unusual at first, but it's part of learning how to see more clearly. Naruto felt a tingling sensation, like his senses were stretching and growing. He remembered the village, the people who cared for him, and even the fox himself. It was overwhelming but exciting. This is incredible, Naruto said, his eyes wide with wonder. I can see everything. In a whole new way. Good, said the fox, a small smile forming. Now that your eyes are ready, your real training begins. Naruto could only grin in anticipation before feeling a warm, gentle wave of sleepiness wash over him. The fox carried him carefully back to his house so he could rest, leaving Naruto to dream of the adventures that awaited him. Oh yes, thought the fox, watching over the boy, things are going to get very interesting now. At 5 in the morning, sunlight spilled through the window of Naruto Uzumaki's room. On the floor, curled up in a tangle of blankets, lay the young blonde boy, still fast asleep. The gentle rumbling of his snore stirred the presence sharing the apartment with him, the nine-tailed fox, Kurama. Wow! That boy can sleep through anything, Kurama grumbled, his voice echoing in Naruto's mind. He even fell off his bed and kept snoring. How is that possible? Kurama waited patiently, though his patience was beginning to wear thin. All right, Naruto, time to wake up. We have a busy day ahead. But Naruto didn't budge. Finally, Kurama sighed and gave him a gentle nudge. Wake up. Naruto groaned as he slowly stirred, stretching his arms. As he tried to stand, he bumped his head and sat back down with a wince. Ow! My head feels so hot, Naruto exclaimed, rubbing his forehead. Kurama's voice was calm but serious. Remember yesterday, when you awakened that mysterious Sharingan eye? I had to help guide it into your system. Normally, I could adjust it, but since you don't have Uchiha blood, we had to do things a bit differently. Naruto blinked, rubbing his eyes. Kurama pointed to the katana he had brought out the day before. Take a look. See anything different? Naruto leaned closer. Instead of the usual red and black Sharingan design, the new pattern glimmered with blue and red. His eyes widened. Did I just unlock a new kind of Sharingan? Naruto asked, amazed. Kurama nodded thoughtfully. It's very rare. This could be powerful. Or it could be tricky. Either way, you're special, Naruto. Let's see how you handle it. Can I turn them off now? They feel strange. Yes, you can. I just wanted to see how they would activate. With that, Naruto's eyes returned to normal. Tomorrow, we'll begin training with your new ability. Today, just rest and let your eyes adjust, Kurama advised, vanishing into the mindscape. Naruto stretched and yawned. Well, might as well go for a run while I'm awake. He walked over to his closet, thinking about the training to come. Last time, Kurama's training had been intense, but Naruto was determined to improve. He picked out his outfit carefully, a blue mesh undershirt with red arm wrappings and black pants. Hidden within his clothes were small seals, designed to help him balance energy during battle. Naruto felt ready, both for his morning run and the adventures ahead. As he stepped into the village, he almost bumped into someone familiar, Sakura Haruno. Hey! Watch where you're going, Sakura exclaimed, stepping back with wide eyes. Oh. Sorry, Naruto said quickly, realizing it was her. He smiled awkwardly and waved. Good morning, Sakura. Didn't mean to startle you. Sakura huffed, shaking her head, but she didn't press further. Naruto continued on his way to one of Konoha's many training fields, ready to push himself and discover what his new Sharingan could do. Hidden Training Field 43, kid-friendly version. Naruto walked through the deserted training ground, his eyes sparkling with determination. He came to a large, shimmering lake, its surface reflecting the morning sun. He took a deep breath and prepared to practice a new jutsu he had been working on. Just as he was about to start, he noticed a figure on the other side of the lake. She had striking purple hair and was waving at him. Naruto squinted, activating his new Sharingan to see more clearly. "Yuagao?" he said, surprised. "It's you." Yuagao smiled warmly, though her expression was also slightly mischievous. She waved again and began to demonstrate a series of hand signs. Naruto, ever eager to learn, copied them perfectly. Suddenly, Yuagao shouted, "Water style, water dragon jutsu." A huge, twisting wave of water shot toward Naruto. Naruto jumped back, laughing nervously as he dodged. "Whoa! I didn't know it would be that strong," he said, wiping imaginary sweat from his forehead. Yuagao crossed the shore to join him, both of them laughing at how clumsy Naruto had been. "You're going to need more practice if you want to keep up with me," she said playfully. Before they could continue, a loud roar echoed through the forest. Both Naruto and Yuagao froze. From between the trees, a massive tiger emerged, its eyes glowing with curiosity. Then, to their shock, 4 more tigers appeared, surrounding them. Naruto's eyes narrowed. "Looks like training just got a lot more interesting," he muttered. He could feel his chakra building inside him, swirling in red, blue, and black streams. It made the ground tremble slightly as he focused. Yuagao stepped back, sensing the unusual energy. "Naruto. That doesn't look like your normal style." "I'll explain later," Naruto said calmly, shifting into a taijutsu stance. His speed and precision were incredible. He moved like a blur, dodging the tigers and guiding them away without harming them. They were scared off by his swirling chakra and ran back into the forest. Yuagao let out a sigh of relief. "Wow. You've really been training hard." "I have to meet my team at Training Ground 7 soon," Naruto said, already feeling the rush of speed. "Catch up later, okay?" And with a flash, he was gone, faster than anyone could follow. As Yuagao walked back toward the village, she shook her head with a small smile. "That boy never stops surprising me." Meanwhile, Naruto raced through the village, feeling another familiar chakra signature. "Sasuke!" he called out, zooming past the young Uchiha. "Race you to Training Ground 7. Sasuke's eyes narrowed. "Humph! You think you can beat me? Not a chance." Naruto laughed, feeling the wind whip past his face. The two friends sped through the village, their laughter echoing. It wasn't just training, it was a test of speed, friendship, and the thrill of adventure. The sun shone down on the village, and Naruto's heart raced with excitement. Today was another step toward becoming stronger, faster, and better than he was yesterday, and he knew every challenge was worth it. After the fox had told him it was almost 7 o'clock, Naruto pushed more chakra into his legs. With one powerful leap from the tree branch he had just landed on, he found himself in the middle of Training Ground 7. But one thing was missing: Kakashi hadn't arrived yet. All he saw were Sakura, asleep under a tree, and a panting Sasuke, who had just arrived a few minutes before him. "Where have you two been? You're just as late as Kakashi-sensei." Sakura's voice rang out, startling everyone. Naruto, known for his impatience, decided he had had enough. "Why don't you calm down for once? All you ever do is complain and yell. If you spent more time focusing on your training and eating properly, you might be stronger and healthier." He paused as he noticed the shocked look on her face, but that only pushed him to continue. "You chase after Sasuke all the time without thinking about how he feels. If someone did that to me, I might act distant too. Work on your training and your health, and maybe you'll become the strong kunoichi I know you can be." The training ground went silent. No one had ever seen Naruto so serious or so determined. Not even the Kyuubi, who had been with him for 13 years, could have predicted this side of him. Just then, Kakashi arrived. He stopped short at the scene, a steaming Naruto, a tearful Sakura, and a confused, quiet Sasuke. "And Kakashi-sensei, start arriving on time from now on," Naruto added. Kakashi's gaze shifted to Naruto's eyes, and what he saw surprised him. Naruto's Sharingan was fully activated. It wasn't a trick of the light, it was real. "I understand why you've been struggling," Kakashi said quietly. "But you need to stop blaming yourself for the past and focus on leading your team properly." Naruto felt a weight lift off his shoulders. For the first time, he realized he truly could be a leader, just like the fourth Hokage. Kakashi looked at the group and smiled slightly. "I was going to give you all a test today, but it looks like Naruto already brought you closer together. That's an accomplishment in itself. Sakura wiped her tears away and asked softly, Kakashi-sensei, I don't have as much chakra as the others, but I have good control. Is there a way I can help the team? Kakashi thought for a moment. You could become the team's medic ninja. Supporting your teammates is just as important as fighting alongside them. Sakura considered this and nodded. I think I can do that. Kakashi-sensei, do you know anyone who could help me train in medical ninjutsu? As a matter of fact, I do. His name is Atsuko Eri. He's an experienced healer, white hair and dark glasses. Tell him I sent you. Sakura left, and Sasuke quietly followed her, leaving Naruto and Kakashi alone. Naruto looked serious. Kakashi-sensei, I need you to take this seriously. Train this team properly. I may not be able to stop you if things go wrong, but the Hokage certainly can. Kakashi frowned. Naruto, you need to calm down. I'm not trying to avoid my responsibilities. Naruto took a deep breath, letting his chakra settle. Then lead our team the way you know is right. I trust you can do it. Don't let them down. Kakashi nodded slowly. He could see the fire in Naruto's eyes and realized the boy was serious. I understand, he said quietly. I'll do my best. Later, Yuigao Uzuki approached Kakashi. You're not as alone as you think. Everyone wants to help you, but you have to let them in. Start by being on time and training your team like your sensei would have. Kakashi's chest tightened as he remembered his own days under Minato's guidance. Minato had turned a group of misfits into a family, and Kakashi knew he could do the same. You're right, he whispered. I'll do it. I'll train this team properly, and I'll make sure they grow stronger together. With renewed determination, Kakashi turned and left the training field, ready to lead his team. Yuigao smiled softly and headed to Naruto's apartment, hoping to learn more about the young ninja who had sparked such a change in everyone around him. Naruto's apartment. Yuigao arrived at the old apartment building, its paint peeling and windows slightly foggy. She raised her hand to knock, but before she could, the door swung open. Sitting calmly in a chair, smiling, was the person she had come to see. All right, Naruto, she said, arms crossed, start explaining yourself. What was that strange chakra and that unusual fighting style you used? Naruto looked up at her and couldn't help but grin. First, the strange chakra. That came from two major events in my life. The first was my training with the Kyuubi. Yuigao raised an eyebrow. Training with the Kyuubi? How is that a major event, besides making you super strong? Naruto's grin widened. Well, during that training, I came across this old book. He pulled out a worn, ancient-looking book covered in mysterious markings. It taught me a way to become a walking chakra reservoir. So after reading it and getting advice from a certain little friend, I began the process of becoming a Hanyo. Yuigao tilted her head in confusion. A Hanyo? You mean a demon? Half demon, not full, Naruto clarified quickly. That's the main reason my chakra grew so strong. But the black color? That comes from something else. Yuigao's eyes narrowed. The black color? Explain. The first part came from my Sharingan, Naruto said casually. Yuigao blinked. Wait. Sharingan? I thought only the Uchiha could have that. Normally, yes, Naruto nodded, but Kekkei Genkais, the special abilities some clans have, actually trace back to demons. My demon just happens to be the one that originally created the Sharingan. It helped me control my chakra better. Okay. That's unusual, Yuigao murmured, still trying to wrap her head around it. Then there's my third affinity, Naruto continued. Fire, wind, and shadow. The last one, the shadow affinity, is what actually turned my chakra black. Being a Hanyo gave me that special connection, like a unique magical bond. It's not the same as the Nara clan's shadow techniques, it's more innate. Yuigao's mouth fell open slightly. Wait, you're a Genin and you already have 3 affinities? Who even are you? Naruto chuckled. Believe me, it's a lot to take in. But yes, that's why my chakra looks like this. He slowly activated his Sharingan, letting Yuigao see the faint swirl of red in his eyes. All right, he said with a grin, I've explained enough. Any questions? Yuigao paused, thinking. Finally, she asked the one question that mattered most. So, why were you spying on me at the training grounds? Naruto turned red instantly, scratching the back of his head. That was totally an accident. I really didn't mean it, I swear. Yuigao narrowed her eyes, then smiled a little mischievously. She walked over, leaned in, and gave Naruto a quick, Friendly tap on the cheek. I'll be seeing you around, Naruto-kun, she said, and with a swirl of leaves, she vanished, leaving him stunned. Naruto stood there, staring at where she had been. Then it hit him. She tapped my cheek. He felt his face heat up, and a goofy grin spread across his face. Unable to contain his excitement, he fainted backward onto the floor, but in his dreamlike swoon, he couldn't stop smiling. Dear YouTube family, this is all for now. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for your support. Warm regards. 6 Path Weeb.